Hello everyone and welcome to our free webinar, Start Your Career in Germany, 3 Insider Tips by the HHL MBA. My name is Dheeraj and I am the moderator of this webinar on behalf of Prep Advisor. Today you have the chance to meet a recent MBA graduate, Career Development and Employer Relations Director Martina Beermann, and the program's Recruitment Manager Stefanie Sanches from one of Germany's top business schools. The speakers will explore the specific demands of the German market and give 3 insider tips on how to successfully launch your career in Europe's economic powerhouse. Keep in mind that you can send your questions during the entire webinar by typing them in the chat box, and after the presentation is over, our speakers will take the time to give you a detailed answer. Now I'd like to check the sound. Could you please write in the chat box or where you can type in the questions which country you are logging in from? Please type in which country are you from. Great, I can see some answers coming in already. Thank you very much. Everything is set, so we can start with the presentation now. Stefanie, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you're as excited as we are to get into the secret tips, insider tips that we have for you on how to launch your career in Germany. I'm just going to go into a little more detail about who we are and why we're here and why you should maybe heed our advice. So I'm going to start with myself, which might be a little rude, but it helps the flow. I'm Stefanie. I'm the student recruitment manager for the full-time MBA program at HHL. So if at the end of this presentation you feel like an MBA at HHL might be a good way for you to start your career in Germany, I'm your contact person. To my left we have Alex. He's from our most recent batch of graduates, and he's already got a really awesome job at Check 24. And then on the other end, we have Martina, our director for the career development and employers relations, and she's going to go ahead and tell you a little bit more about our career development team, who, by the way, are really awesome, and yeah, tell you a little bit about their qualifications, their experience, and then we'll go ahead and start with the why you're all here.
Yeah, okay. First of all, a warm welcome also from my part. I'm really enjoying to know that there are so many people joined us from so many countries today. Yes, let's talk about my background at the very beginning. I'm a psychologist by profession, and I'm looking back on more than 30 years of professional experience right now. And yes, especially in the automotive field, where I worked in HR, especially in leadership and behavior training, where I did personnel selection and yes, potential assessment center for future leaders. And the second sector where I've got experience is the education field, where I'm working now. Yeah, and my team consists of 5 people. Some of them are psychologists too, but also others from the economics field, and many of them did or have several licenses as a coach, so especially career coach. Myself, I'm also really specialized on career coaching, and yeah, and I hope you will benefit from our experience. So let's start with the big picture, our mission and the way we work, yeah? And I can truly say we help you to manage your self-development. That means your personal development as a human being, yeah? And second, we help you to attain a rewarding and meaningful career, which should be the logical steps. That's why you could join us, yeah. And yeah, And additionally, we help you to manage your career progress during your lifelong career journey, as career development, I can tell you from my own experience, never ends. Yeah. And okay, the result is that we are on the first rank in Germany in the alumni rating of career service within the Economist, which MBA ranking in 2018. And more than that, we are on rank 5 as a career service worldwide in the Financial Times Masters Management ranking 2018. Yeah.
So they know what they're talking about, let's say.
I hope so. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, and I think our working philosophy is really continuous improvement, as I learned it from the early years, especially from the engineers in the automotive sector. Yes, and that's why we network with partners from all over the world. Yes, with really the special networks which are relevant for us, especially the MBA Career Service and Employer Alliance, but also networks here in Germany. I'm also member of the board of the German Association for Human Resources. And here on the pictures you can see me joining somebody reporting directly to the CEO in Silicon Valley. I got there via targeted networking, so I can proudly say what we preach, we practice it for ourselves. And also in Stanford, I had a really insightful meeting with the director of the career service for the MBA students in Stanford, which gave me many insights. And more than that, we regularly join the MBA CSA conferences, which take place in all places all over Europe and so on. Yes. Yeah, so our target is to provide you with the best career development strategies from all over the world. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And perhaps if Alex could also give us a little bit more about himself. Sorry, I completely...
Yes, of course. Introducing myself, my name is Alexandre. You can call me Alex, the people. I'm actually an engineer from Brazil. I have 7 years experience as an engineer in consulting companies. And why I decided to go to the MBA, because I understood that it was a very good way to get to know the market in Germany, and especially if you want to continue your career here, is a perfect place in which you can build a very good network, international environment, and get to know a lot of different people. And the workshops really help for us to understand how the market works. And basically, if you have as an objective to change the careers or to go into Germany and start living here and change your life, whatever domain you have, is the perfect place you can be.
Exciting. So now on to why you're really here. You know, our advice for launching and succeeding with your career in Germany. And so you're probably expecting us to give you an outline of the German job market, right? Saying this and this and this is what you need. Now go figure out how you can get those, how you can check those boxes. But let me put it out there. Do you think that's the right way around? Or should it start with you and then see how you can fit into the job market? That's right. Our approach is we start with you, for you to have a meaningful career for yourself and for your own self-fulfillment. So here we go. Let's start with our insider tips. And the way we've structured them is there's sort of 3 major steps that you have to take, in our opinion, in order to succeed in Germany, and a lot of this can be extrapolated beyond Germany as well. And within each of these steps, we're going to give you one of our tips. So the first step is focus. And our tip within this is know your why. So focus your career strategy and know your why. Martina, tell us more about that.
Yeah, focus means please focus on your strengths, and know your why means what could be your gift to the world? What are the things you really love to do and you are capable to do? And that's really the beginning of the journey, I would say, because it gives you direction in a huge market. Yeah, and more than this, the question asking for your why includes the empowerment for your self-leadership. Self-leadership means a goal-oriented and self-influencing process to increase your personal effectiveness and performance. Yes, it sounds a bit like self-management, but I think it's more than that. It's about mental training, how to train your brain in a constructive way so that you are able to successfully reach your goals. Yes, you all know we have always some voices in our head which are not very helpful, and that's what we train with you in future. Yeah, yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, and so the self-leadership includes also the question for the purpose. Yes. Purpose, the question for the purpose is the core of our Leipzig leadership model. I think you know it. Yeah.
Very thoroughly.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And the Leipzig leadership model includes 3 levels. It's the individual level for your purpose, it's the organizational level, and it's the societal level. And as a career development team, we start with the question, what's your individual purpose? So what are the activities you love to do? Yes. What are your favorite activities? And the likelihood, if you focus on your favorite activities and your favorite interests, is much higher that you are great at it. Yeah, it's much easier to reach an excellent level. Yeah, if you focus on these strengths. And the nice things, if you work with your talents and not against your talents, you really enjoy your work. I can tell it from my own experience. Yes, and many people who follow their inner calling, I would say, they always tell me, oh yes, it's so great, and the best thing, I'm paid for the thing I love to do. Yes, it feels easy. And perhaps you may think now, oh, it sounds like luxury, perhaps, but I think it's not a luxury, it's something everybody has a right to do. And we have many discussions with HR people on these topics. And when I'm talking about our approach, they are always really, fascinated by it, because they all are looking for people who are really passionate about their work and their career goals. And for example, 2 weeks ago, we had a 120-year celebration party here at HHL. One very excellent headhunter in Germany was part of the panel discussion, and she asked the people, who would you hire? Somebody who was just wanting to do a big business, or somebody who wants to help people to settle down on the Mars? Yeah, that means who has a higher purpose. Yeah, it sounds like really a big journey, but there is something behind it. Yeah, if you break it down. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So if you pursue an authentic long-term career vision, which is really based on your individual strengths, yes, and preferences, it's much easier to convince others, because you're talking about topics you are really fascinated by. You can really feel the energy then, yes, and that's what HR people check as well. A typical question is, for example, which task energizes you? And if you can't answer it within like 5 minutes, some people say, oh, it's not the right person. Yeah, and it's much easier to learn things because you're focusing on the subjects you really like, and you have a higher energy level because, yes, you're working with your talent. It's much more likely that you come into a flow situation, yeah, which means requirements and your talents are on the are congruent, yeah, on the same level. And yes, I think you come to better decisions in a fast changing job market. You know, we are all living in a VUCA world, which is volatile, uncertain, complex, and agile. So the job market can always change, yes. And yes, so your best insurance to survive the changing job market is to be better than others, yeah. And the likelihood that you stay healthy is also yes, much higher, yes. And I think healthiness is the base for everything, yeah. And yeah, indeed, in the very end, the success is more likely.
Yeah, and I think the authentic, what you mentioned, the authenticity, that's something really important because you know the phrase "fake it till you make it," but there's only so far that can take you. So if you're actually authentically doing something that fulfills you, that fulfills all of these points that Martina mentioned here, you're a lot more likely to excel at what you're doing and to invest the dedication, the time, the effort, the energy into it to be successful. We can add something?
No.
So now that we've established or focused our career strategy and we've established our why, our purpose, the next step is to work on thriving, on growing, on building yourself up. And our tip here, our pro tip is practice, practice, practice. What does this mean? It means identify your strengths and also your weaknesses. And then practice on them, work on them until you perfect them. What is that number you always mention, Martina? How many hours does it take to?
10,000 hours to develop a really extraordinary talent. Yes, it's a golden rule.
10,000 hours. So there you go. Practice, practice, practice.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, training is everything.
Yeah, it really is.
And Bill Gates, for example, was one of the examples who identified his strengths very early in his teenage years and focused on it. Yeah.
Any strengths you've been practicing?
Practicing a lot of leadership, I can say, practicing a lot.
Leadership.
Yes. Controlling, finance, all the skills that I try to develop here in classes.
Yeah.
And job, yes.
That's an excellent bridge onto our next point, or onto how we at HHL help you to strengthen your skill set.
Oh, yeah, especially the German skills, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. The German, like one of the main things you need to know when you're entering the German job market is that German is incredibly beneficial to know. So
yeah, I would say it's very important. Most of people believe they can actually enter the market only with English, and that's partly true. But from my experience and experience from some other colleagues that I had in my class, it's not that simple. I mean, we need at least to have some level of German in order to be able at least to communicate. And especially if you want to live here and you want to move to Germany or in any other city here, it's definitely a must that you have to take. And that's a good thing because actually the MBA here consists, they provide us of really good classes all over the year. And these classes actually helped me a lot. So yeah, that's one thing that took in mind.
yeah, exactly. All through the year you have classes, and if you've never had any prior experience with German before, there's also an intensive course that you can do prior to the course, to the program start in August. So there are options because we recognize that German is important, and rather than have it as an extracurricular that you have to do on top of your already busy schedule, it's actually integrated into the program. So you get credits for it. it's completely integrated. So essentially, the German skills allow you to maybe compete with local applicants. You're on the same playing field. But that's not enough, right? We want you to stand out. We want your profile to stand out from other applicants. And that's why we look at our program was recently redesigned, and in order to focus more on the so-called future skills. I don't know if you've heard of these before. It's like a big buzzword right now. But there have been a lot of reports looking at or analyzing what are the skills that employers are seeking that will help them face the, as you mentioned, the VUCA world, the volatile and uncertain, complex and agile agile world. You know, like what are those skills? What are the skills that we need in the future when machines and AI are going to be doing a lot of the jobs as we know them now? And there's still a big role for humans to play. Don't get me wrong. This isn't the, you know, the robots are taking over kind of situation. This is an opportunity for you to find for us to find new skill sets that, or strengthen existing skill sets that will help us flourish in that environment. And so those skills include, for example, a lot of soft skills. And if you look at the second pillar on the table there, the leadership and reflection, you have things like problem solving and communication, which is a really big. Creative problem solving is actually one of the key skills that German employers, according to a recent McKinsey report, are seeking. Negotiation as well, cross-cultural communication and management, being able to interact with people from other cultures. You have any experience with that in the MBA class?
Yeah, actually I have. I'm the one of 3 Brazilians there, so everyone from me is foreigner. Yeah. And especially it's very interesting to learn about other cultures, and it's very important to understand that there are differences, we cannot ignore them, and there will be differences in the environment, in the work environment, and when we work in teams, we actually perceive that this kind of intense relationships between the persons in the teams, and it's very interesting to know. One thing about problem solving and communication that you mentioned, and I think I saw a lot of these in some selective, in some processes to entering in the German market. So when you have the interviews, there are always some, as meant for logic tests, or even some case studies that you have to perform, and the employer will have to understand if you're able to keep up with this dynamic environment. So these are some the soft skills are really important for us to develop here.
Yeah, and then additionally, on top of those soft skills, it's also like the digital skills, the you know, being able to at least understand coding, being data literate, or having some data literacy, understanding disruptive technologies. And that means like not only what is blockchain, but how does blockchain affect business models? How does artificial intelligence or IoT, robotics, how do these disruptive technologies affect business models, and also what opportunities do they face? How can new business models be created from them? So those are kind of the skills, and if you look on this slide here, you can see a little bit more detail. If you have any questions about this, I'm just glossing over it now. Please reach out to me, send me an email, schedule a personal consultation, and we can go into it in more depth. But you'll see that also on this table, there's you know, a lot of these skills get picked up again in your elective courses as well. So now that, you know, during the program itself, you're already learning a lot of the relevant skills, but on top of that, you also get skills that are very targeted to, you know, your career progress. Mm-hmm.
Yes, a principal part of our offer are individual career coaching sessions. Yes, because every person and every profile is very special. There's really a special story behind, yes, special expectations. So yes, we many of our students join us individually as much as they want. Yes, there's no limit. And yes, and we figure out your special questions, your career plans, and the way to get there. And the best of it, it's lifelong, as I already mentioned in the beginning. Yes, and we also provide you with a strong network of alumni and HR experts. So if you tell us, for example, I would like to go in the technology sector, we provide you with selected contacts from our alums, and yes, we tell you how to approach them. Yes, here on this slide you can see all the different steps of our whole offers. It starts with you, as we mentioned, and your self-reflection, your self-assessment, and your career development planning. And yes, a big question here is how to search a job and how to conquer, for example, the hidden job market. The hidden job market is much bigger than many people expect. It's about 60% in Germany. And yes, we tell you how to make it, yeah, but also how to apply, especially in Germany, on the traditional way, yes, how to deal with your contacts, how to build up the relationships. We check your CVs, we provide you with example of CVs, also with examples from cover letters. We check your cover letters individually. Yes, and we offer you mock interviews once you ask us, and sometimes it's, yes, we have to react very quickly. Somebody asks us on Thursday evening, oh, I've got an interview Monday morning, so even if our calendar is really full, we always find a way to come together and to train it with you, yes?
And I think that's a really, really important skill, especially when you're interviewing in a country that's not your own and you're not quite familiar with it. And I think the students get a lot of support from that respect as well.
Yeah, true. I remember I made a workshop in the beginning of the course in which we had first to understand what are our objectives here, right? So, for instance, for my path, I'm an engineer. I used to work with that, and because I decided to change careers, but I needed some guidance, right? And this workshop was very helpful for me because then I could understand at least what are my strengths, what can I actually use and put on my CV, and what will be the fish that I'm going to sell for the companies here. And that was really interesting. And as far as the CV goes, we had, for the German class, we had a preparation of CV in German, in the German style. And it was really, really helpful, not only because of the language, but also all the structure and all the norms that the German market require for us to compete and to apply. So this, yeah, it was very important as well.
Yeah, it sounds trivial, but it's not at all.
Yeah, it's not at all. It helps a lot. It helped me a lot. So yes.
Yes, and one more important step is also the salary negotiation. Yes, many students ask how much should I ask for? Yes, how can I negotiate? Yes, and yes, we always figure it out for you, try to figure it out for you. And yes, we also offer webinars how to negotiate a salary. Yes, presented by top career advisors who are also teaching at Stanford and CERT and so on. Yeah, well, many students appreciate it. For
sure.
Yeah, and additionally, we offer you digital career tools, as we are also living in the digital world. Yeah, one tool is our digital career center called Job Teaser, where you can find a big number of company profiles from companies who are really interested in students, especially from HHL, and it's growing every week, I can proudly say. Yes. We also publish all our on-campus recruiting events on this platform, also webinars from companies who offer some stuff wherever they are located, yeah. Mm-hmm. And yes, a large number of job and internship numbers, also in different languages, yes, Spanish, Italian, French, etc. Mm-hmm. And yes, you can load down career tips from every place. Mm-hmm. You are located. And yes, and especially you can upload your CV on the digital talent bank, where all the companies who uploaded their company profile can get access to, so that you are maybe will be discovered, let's say. Yes. And the precondition that we allow you to upload your CV on the digital career center job teaser is that you went to a certain process steered by VMOG. It's our digital CV optimization tool based on artificial intelligence, and every CV is benchmarked with your target group, let's say, with other MBAs from HHL, so that you can get instant feedback with a certain score, which ensures a certain quality. Yes. And more than that, you can get instant feedback also on the weekends when we don't work. Yeah. For example, about your team skills and also about your leadership skills. It's much quicker than our brains, I must admit. Yes. And it's also used by Stanford, INSEAD, London Business School, Kellogg. So yeah.
And the really cool thing is you get access to VMOG from the start. So as soon as you're admitted to HHL and you sign your contract, you get your study contract, then you already get access to VMOG. So you can already start working on your CV, preparing for it before you even reach or start the program.
Yeah, after the payment. After the first rate. But it really helps you to save time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, and some more additional offers, yes, are our application workshops, as you already mentioned, the interview workshops, case study training, as more and more startups also ask you to solve a case within the hiring process, not only consultancies. Yeah, that's why we offer it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I think we can probably say your success is our priority. That's why we offer you in future, yes, leading a module called Leading Yourself and Self-Reflection, which is part of our curriculum. So we give you the space and time you need to work on your own career and personal development. Yes, it's a big change in our office. We didn't have it till now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big change because, like you said, it means that it is really a priority, because if you start an MBA, you're doing it for your career, most likely. So, you know, your career should be at the forefront. So this is what led to this decision.
Yeah.
Ooh, went dark there. So now that we've focused our strategy, we've worked on thriving, we've practiced, strengthened our skill set, the next step is to connect. And our tip here is to leverage your network and learn to make your network actually work for you. So not just have a network, but how to use it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we provide you with systematic techniques, how to build up relationships, how to break the ice, yes, and how to connect with our alums, and how to make out the best of every contact, I would say. Perhaps you remember the PIE method? That's what we really spread. It was developed by a top career advisor, yes, who works also for Stanford at INSEAD. So that's really, yes, a big part of our message. And more than that, we offer you a big variety of on-campus recruiting events here on campus, so such as company presentations, but workshops which are limited to a smaller group of students. Yeah,
Working with employers and companies.
Yeah, yeah, working with employees. Yes. So that they get to know you much more in detail, I would say.
And it's a chance to showcase your skills as well, the ones you've been practicing.
Yeah, that's it. But every company presentation evening or every workshop is combined with a get-together afterwards, where you can come together in a really relaxed atmosphere, yes, with drinks and food, and yeah, so that you feel sure and safe and to ask them all your questions. Yeah,
it's a good opportunity to ask questions and make real contacts and not only stay there, be passive there. It's a way to be active and actually talk to those employers, and you can actually improve your network like that. It's a very good way.
Yes. Some companies also offer dinners, yes, where you are invited into a restaurant or a vinothek, as we say, yeah. And yes, we also offer company excursions directly to the companies.
I think you went on one of those.
Yeah, we went to Porsche, yes.
Oh, yeah.
It was, I think, March or April this year, yes.
Yeah.
We went to Porsche to get to know the processes, and quite thrilling.
Yeah, but we also offered excursions to Puma, I remember.
Wayfair,
yes, and to digital hubs. Yes, it was organized by our alumni relations manager.
And to startups as well. A bunch of startups also here and also in Berlin, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yes. Yes, we offer you alumni talks where you can benefit from their personal experience during their career. Yes, and we also created special events like Fame. You know, about more than 90% of the German economics are, made, let's say, by family businesses, or consist of family businesses. So we invite especially mid-sized family business, but which are also interacting on international level. Yes. For example, BMW and Porsche are also family business originally. Yes, Bosch, HRS, Lidl, they also belong to this. Yeah. And we also created a special event called International Open, which was designed for companies who are especially interested in international students or offer international careers.
Yeah.
Yes, here you can see a selection of companies who joined us on campus within the last 3 years, but there are much more than that. So in autumn and in spring, we have companies on campus nearly twice a week. Yeah, twice a week in general.
Yeah, it's a very busy schedule.
Yeah, yes.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yes, one special highlight of our recruiting events is our Startup Career Fair, especially to those who would like to work in a startup, yes, which is a trend, or who would like to create their own business. We are proud to say that 4 out of 8 German unicorns are originated at HHL. It's Trivago, Auto1, Delivery Hero, and About You. And yes, Mr. Specs is also expanding, yes, in Berlin. And yes, so about 6 to 8 alumni who created their own business join us here on this evening. and they give you insights in their business. They talk about their ups and downs, yes, and also invite you to apply for an internship or for a job.
Yeah, there's a colleague of mine who is working at Mr. Flex in Berlin.
Oh yeah,
So,
it does. Yeah.
So basically, the connection came out from these presentations and workshops with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how you can see how important it is.
Yeah, yeah, really. Mm-hmm. Yes, one special offer is our new Leipzig Talents program. We call it a leadership competency development program, which we created together with the chair of business psychology and leadership, Professor Meiner. And the base of this Leipzig Talents program is a competency test. Here on the slide, you can see the four key elements which are part of this competency test and which are directly linked to our Leipzig leadership model. Yes, it's about earning trustworthiness, and it's about entrepreneurial spirit, self-reflection, and social mindfulness. Yeah, and you have to apply for it, yeah, and yes, it's really really appreciated by our students
And competitive as well.
Yeah, and yes, and competitive as well. And once you were chosen and made your competency test, you are matched to one top coach, I can say, yeah. And here you can see some examples. Dr. Oetker, maybe you know the pizza company, but they produce much more products than that. But many people from China, they know him from the pizza. Yeah. Here, and as well as Tim Richter, who was the CPO of Sing, it's a German LinkedIn. Senja Meuser, she's Vice President Human Resources at Sing. Another really fascinating personality is Father Dr. Justinus Page, who works as a management angel, I would say, and gives leadership lessons. He is an alum from HHL, but joined a religious institution, let's say. Yes, he's a preacher. Also, the daughter of Dr. Oetker is involved. Dr. Fischer, he's a really highly experienced organizational leadership consultant, also psychotherapist as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a class on leadership with him.
Ah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Daniel Krieg, he's the CEO of a top advertisement agency in Switzerland. Professor Christiane, who's a psychologist too, focusing on consumer psychology. Yes, but also, yes, we have very, very different.
A lot of very VIPs.
Yeah, from the arts field, from consultancy field, from sports. Perhaps you know RB Leipzig. Yes, they have many fans. It's a football league here in Leipzig.
And the stadium is just across the road from our campus, so that's another perk.
That's it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a really exciting additional program that we offer, but something that's integrated into, or a couple of highlights that are integrated into the program, particularly if you choose the advanced track that we offer, are these options where you can actually network, or you apply your network, leverage your network, grow your network right during your program. So for example, we have internship options, a classic internship, but also brand new, we're going to offer entrepreneur in residence options, as well as social impact projects. And this is your opportunity to get a foot in the door at a company, experience the company culture already. Like what is a German word? What is the German work culture? You get a sense of that already.
Yeah.
The international experiences, such as your study abroad, the international study trip, gives you a chance to grow your network internationally. And then the consulting project is a great way for you to showcase your skills, work in intercultural teams, and as well, again, get a sense of what does it mean to work for for a consultancy in Germany. And we've got some really great projects, consulting projects with companies such as Bosch, DHL, Porsche, as well as many startups and other companies. So it's a really great opportunity for you to leverage your network.
Especially for those who want to switch their career,
Yeah.
who want to change their profile and enter into another sector or into a very different function.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a foot into the door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that we've focused, we have we focused on our strategy. We've learned to thrive. We've practiced. We've perfected our skills. Thank you. We've connected with a global network. We've leveraged our network. We've made our contacts work for us. Now it's time to succeed. And in fact, 90% of HHL MBA graduates secure a job within 3 months of graduating, which is pretty amazing. And why Germany? Well, it's a pretty, the German economy is a pretty big deal, and it's flourishing. There are so many opportunities right now. As you see here, former Minister of Labor and Social Affairs says this country has never had more positions to fill than in history than today. So it's really, there are so many opportunities. Germany is welcoming so many talents into its workforce. So it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, and they're actually very open-minded to international workforce, international qualified workforce. So you get a lot of opportunities, and the doors won't be closed just because we are from this place or this other place. Sometimes you have this fear about being international and coming from other places, but that's not entirely true. And I think HHL provides at least the curriculum that we need to sell ourselves to the market here.
Yeah. And so here you can just sort of see a couple of statistics of where our graduates go. And so really you can see that there's so many fields that our graduates really find their purpose, find their new niches that they can flourish in. So it really spreads out. And so this is also part of the reason why we can't sit here and tell you, you have to do this and this, because something that you have to do in consulting might be completely different than something that you do at a startup or something that you do in education, for example. So, but if you follow those 3 steps and our tips within these, whichever field you go into, you're bound to succeed. And indeed, about 83% of our graduates do stay in Germany. So that's a pretty good indicator of people finding jobs here quite relatively easily. And also, your study visa here does allow you some time as well to find a job. In fact, it doesn't happen if you're one of the few who don't manage to do so in the first couple of months.
Yes, actually, as a visa, after the studies, you get 18 months from the government in order to search for a job. So they are very open to this.
Exactly.
It's a very good opportunity. The government does not close the doors for us after the courses. So for everyone that is seeking for a visa, it's a perfect opportunity actually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And here you can see a couple of places where our alumni tend to go, the kind of sectors they go into, well, not sectors, the type of companies they go into. This is a really small selection just to give you some names, an impression. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there you have it, our 3 steps to success: focus, thrive, connect. Know your why. Practice, 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 and learn to leverage your network. And now, Oh, sorry. We help you to develop the best in you. And now we're going to give you a short break in which you can think of some questions. Do ask your questions. This is your opportunity to ask, people from different sectors, from different approaches, different areas of HHL. So, do ask your questions, take your time, and in the meantime, we will watch a video and give you the chance to take a breather and write your questions, send us your questions. Enjoy! So we've got a bunch of questions. We're going to try and get through as many as we can. Unfortunately, there's the time's creeping on. But let's go ahead and start with the question that came up a couple of times regarding consulting. Mm-hmm. And what are the consulting opportunities for graduates from the MBA program?
Yes, so many consultancies join us here on campus, yes, because we are really a target university from them, like McKinsey, Accenture, Bain, BCG. I can't remember them all, yes, yesterday Amira, Arthur D. Little, and so on. But they focus on German natives. And there are a few who are looking for international students. That's like E.ON, DHL, in-house consultancy, like Cephas Associates. But we also had cases when people were really committed, perhaps you know, to start in a consultancy, and they really focused on learning the German language. Yeah, they made it. Yeah, for example, Anish last year, he started at Siemens Management Consultancy. Yeah, so it was a big deal for him. But he trained on his language skills. Yeah. And you need to be committed then.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it comes down to what each individual is willing to put into it, and that's also to a certain extent what comes out at the end. That's it. It's down to the practicing. It's our
it's practice.
Identify. That is where you want to go. Consulting is where you will find your true purpose, and that's what you need to do. You need to practice your German and work on that.
So, for example, Accenture, McKinsey, and so on, they are also working on the international level. So if international students who don't talk German ask them, could we apply? They tell them, please apply in other offices, let's say in the UK or in France or wherever they want.
We have got one question here. If we can provide any insights as to the process that would ensure that people from outside have a level playing field. So this again goes back to what we were saying. Leveling the playing field at the end of the day really comes down to the German skills, because that's what levels the playing field here. But like we said, it's not just about leveling the playing field. It's about going above and beyond and finding the skills that will make you shine, finding your strengths.
Yeah. In terms of for the name of the university, it's very good for the curriculum. That's what I have seen. It worked for me really well and for a lot of colleagues from my class. And of course, German is probably a need, at least a certain level of it, but there are also jobs that they're completed in English. Maybe not in Leipzig, but in Frankfurt or Berlin or Hamburg, places in which they're more international and there are more different and varied companies.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
Yeah. So we offer you lists of companies where the company language is English, or companies which also offer jobs where you don't need to talk German.
yeah, in general, will be a mix of both.
Yeah.
So if you're B1 or B2 level, and at least B1 you're able to reach here with the MBA, because the HHL offers the courses for the whole year or during your stay. So you're at least able to get a middle intermediate level. And if you do some other intensive courses afterwards, then you probably succeed. Won't be a problem for them.
Mm-hmm.
For this part, yes.
Yeah, so that also answers some of the other questions of like what kind of proficiency in German is required, and are there options for people with limited German skills. And at the end of the day, there are options, but if you want to really
Yes.
increase your chances, then, then it's a benefit.
But
so German is not a requirement, don't get me wrong. It's not that you won't get a job in Germany if you don't speak German. It's just a massive benefit.
Yeah, that's it. You have more options.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So we have a question as well about the industries. For example, is there oil and gas, energy? Are those kinds of options here in Germany available?
Yeah, especially energy. We are in close contacts with energy providers, let's say like E.ON, they join us regularly, or NVRM. I was talking last week to the head of business development, and yes, they want to make a student consulting project with us in spring. Yeah. Yes, EEX, for example, it's a bit energy trader, I would say, in Leipzig. Also, many international students joined them here at EEX. Yeah. Yes, I think especially Leipzig is strong in the energy sector.
Yeah.
And I have a friend of mine that is actually in the oil and gas industry. I saw here a question specific about this industry. Actually, she got the job in Hamburg. She has already started the work, but she's a chemical engineer. So, I mean, she didn't change the areas, but definitely the MBA gave her this last step or necessary leap for her to continue. But yes, there are a lot of possibilities. Actually, it just depends on what you want.
This is an interesting question over here about other opportunities to interact with and learn more about family businesses in Germany through HHL. Maybe you could expand on that a little bit more.
Yes, we've got a chair called which is focusing on family businesses. So you learn about the rules, let's say, the special mechanisms which are dominating family business, because they interact or act in a different way. Yes, relationships are more relevant there. So yes, it's part of one of our chair. Yeah, I don't know whether you had that lecture. I think it's an elective.
No, I didn't.
Our dean is strong in this question.
Yeah,
yeah.
so one of his passions.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, and HHL is very active in keeping those networks lively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, for example, if you're selected in the new Leipzig Talents program, Dr. Oetker, he's the owner of his family business.
Yes, exactly. That's another way.
Yes, and one of his coachees, he had, for example, the opportunity to participate at a board member session. So it was very interesting for him.
So we've got a couple of questions actually relating to the program itself. So I'll just give a bit of a summary about that, but I would highly recommend that you reach out to me. My contacts will come at the end of the presentation, and we'll also send you an email following up. And for you to just get in touch with me, schedule a consultation so that I can have a look at your profile and we can discuss your options at HHL. And beyond, perhaps, and then I can also talk to you in more detail about the program. So one of the things that kind of came up in the questions is I mentioned once the advanced track versus the fast track, because we have different study durations. So the fast track is a 15-month program, so 12 months of courses followed by 3 months to write your thesis. And those 3 months of writing your thesis, you can even already start working and write it alongside. So it's a really compact course or program, and it generally tends to suit those who, for example, already have like job opportunities lined up after the program, or who can take a sabbatical for 1 year, that kind of thing, or who just want to get through it as fast as possible. Essentially, just get the skills. Get the business know-how. A lot of our students have no prior business knowledge, and they just want to get that know-how, get those the skills, and then go back and join the job market. The advanced track is essentially up to 6 months extra, and in that time you can either use one of our internship opportunities, you can study abroad for a term, or you can choose more electives to go into studying that extra time. So it's very flexible. There's a lot of options, and that tends to be more suitable for candidates who are looking to expand their network, who are new, like we said, who are new to the German job market and would like to experience it a little bit, get their foot in the door, get their contacts first, showcase their skills, get a feel for the work culture, that kind of thing. And who are not in so much of a rush, and they'd rather want to expand those opportunities, use those opportunities to the fullest. So it really depends on what your long-term goals are, which track you choose. And again, I'd be more than happy to discuss that with you in a personal consultation based on your profile and your aims, and we can see what can be figured out. And yes, it is your choice which one you do. You don't have to decide when you're applying. You decide after you arrive on campus, after your first term here. There are also, we do offer scholarships, and there's financing options as well, and I'd be more than happy to provide you information with that as well when you reach out. Yeah, so I think that's a bit of a summary about the program. Essentially, like I said, the best thing is to reach out and contact me, and I can also put you in touch with some of our students, some of our alumni. Like Alex here, you can see he's here in his spare time. Our students and our alumni are all very, very helpful, and they're very committed to helping each other out. It's actually something that really sets us apart, because we have a very tight-knit community who is very open to supporting each other, and I think that's something very unique that also a lot of our international students really appreciate, because if you're not left here to kind of figure it out on your own. You get support from all directions. You get individual support. You know, people know you, staff know you, faculty knows you, your classmates know you. You're not just a number. So yeah, reach out. I'd be more than happy to put you in touch. Let's see, we have time for one last question. About English for the program. We do require English, that is a requirement. So a TOEFL or IELTS, or alternative, if you're a native speaker, if you've been living and working in an English-speaking country, then that's also accepted as proof of your English skills. Yeah, I think we're at the end of our time. But thank you so much for listening and for all your questions. So now the question is, are you ready to launch your career in Germany? If so, get in touch. As I mentioned, schedule your personal consultation, and I'd love to discuss the next steps with you. Your application process, your fit to HHL, and see how you can experience HHL firsthand as well. If you're able to, if you're in the region, maybe you can come by and visit a class, meet your classmates. Yeah, so one more question here. If the recording will be available, there will be a recording, and it will be sent around to you, to the participants. In case you missed anything, you can rewatch it and find out all the facts again. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Thank you so much to my colleagues here who took their time to talk to you guys. Thank you, Dheeraj, for organizing this, and I'll hand back to you. Hope to hear from you guys.
Your participation. It was a pleasure for us to host you for this webinar, and I would like to thank all of the presenters for this presentation and for taking the time to answer all the personal questions. To those of you whose questions were not answered, you don't need to worry. We will send you the answers via email as soon as we can, because, of course, there were a couple of questions that were quite personal, which were for the personal situation of someone. So this would be interesting to continue as communication via email. You will also receive a link with the recording of the whole webinar and the MBA preparation timeline that we promised, that we will send to all of the attendees, so that you can start planning your preparation for tests and for admissions. We also have a webinar upcoming that I would like to announce. Hack the GMAT Your Way will happen on the 4th of December from 5 p.m. Central European Time. It is listed on the event column of Prep Advisor's homepage, and you will now receive a link in the on the screen in the chat option, so that you can register for the webinar if you would like to improve your GMAT score and prepare for the GMAT adequately. On behalf of Prep Advisor and the whole team, I would like to wish you all luck in your academic journey, and I hope to meet you really soon. Thank you very much to the HHL team, and have a great evening to everyone.